So when I first started this channel, I mentioned that the name Adrien Brody with Sprinkles refers to some off-topic videos that'll be sprinkled in once in a while. Today is the first of those Sprinkle Sunday videos, my top 25 favorite movies of all time. Kicking things off, we have Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This was a staple for me as a kid. I watched it so much. Bob Hoskins' performance in this is truly underrated. If you see making of footage, you see just how hard he worked. So I highly recommend this one. Next up at 24, we have The Wiz. This was my movie as a kid. The Wizard of Oz was kind of huge for me when I was really young, and then I got to an age where I was completely obsessed with Michael Jackson. And the Scarecrow had been my favorite character in The Wizard of Oz. So finding out Michael played the Scarecrow in The Wiz was the selling point for me. At 23, we have Once Upon a Crime. I don't think it's a very well-known movie, but I think it's hilarious. It stars basically everybody who was a popular comedic actor in 1992. So yeah, check it out. It's fun. It's like a whodunit kind of film. At 22, we have Meet the Robinsons, which I think is one of Disney's most underrated animated films. It's just great. It's a time travel movie mostly, but it has a lot of heart. There's spots that'll make you choke up and spots that'll make you just tear up with laughter. It's a great balance, and more people should see it. At 21, we have The Silence of the Lambs, and I know that probably seems a little low for something so classic, but yeah, it's just there's so many other things I love, so 21. At number 20, we have Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. This might seem like an odd choice, but this movie literally changed my life. It came out when I was a teenager, and it made me want to sing. And so I became obsessed with this movie. I went out and joined 2 choirs. Yeah, it was kind of a big deal, and I still love it. At number 19, we have Disney's classic Alice in Wonderland. I adore this movie. It's my second favorite Disney film. You'll see the other one soon. It's unhinged, it's just in the best way. So I think you're all probably familiar with it. Next up at 18, we have Jaws, Steven Spielberg's classic, the first summer blockbuster, really. I saw it when I was probably way too young to see it, but it made a big impact on me. The scene where Hooper, Brody, and Quint are comparing scars, that's probably my favorite scene. At number 17, we have Babe. Now, I mentioned that Sister Act 2 changed my life in that it made me want to perform and be a singer, which I was for many years after. Babe changed my life in that I haven't eaten pork since 1995. So yeah, life-changing. At number 16, we have Easy A, which is my go-to comfort movie when I'm sick or just feeling down or whatever. It's hilarious. It's thought-provoking even, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Check that out. Okay, we entered the top 15 with Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This was huge for me as a kid. A lot of the movies on this list are ones that I've liked for a long time because there's just that nostalgia factor and that, you get attached to these movies, that you grew up with. So I think that's the case with this one. It is a great movie, though. At number 14, we have Singin' in the Rain. Now, this film you will find on a lot of people's top favorites list. It's mostly regarded as a musical, but people don't know just how hilarious it is. If you haven't seen it, just do yourself a favor and just watch it. At lucky number 13, we have Halloween, because I figured, where better to place it. So Halloween and I came out the same year. I don't know if that's part of my attachment to it, but it's always been my favorite horror franchise to this day. So Halloween. Number 12 is Edward Scissorhands, the first of the Diane Wiest films you'll see on this list. She is my favorite actress. I'll probably end up doing a video about her later for another Sprinkle Sunday. But yeah, Edward Scissorhands is great. Johnny Depp is great in it, of course. Winona Ryder. It's kind of a fish out of water story in a way, culture shock and all that stuff, and it's pretty great. And Vincent Price, wonderful performance by him. Here's one that won't shock anybody who's familiar with my channel. Number 11 is The Pianist. You would think it would be higher, but I have a lot of other beloved films, as I said. Plus, it's not exactly something you sit down and watch daily. It's a heavy journey. So, 11. Number 10 is Parenthood. This, I believe, was my first exposure to Diane Wiest, at least the one I remember. Her performance here is so great. Her chemistry with the other actors is just spot on. My favorite scene is probably where her and Keanu Reeves' character Todd are having a conversation about fatherhood. And it's just, he doesn't think he's being that deep, but he is. And her reaction to it when she realizes Todd is more than he seems, it's a really good scene. Number 9 is The Darjeeling Limited. It is the first Wes Anderson film I ever saw and still one of my favorites. I kind of go back and forth between this and one that's also on this list. Number 8 is Radio Days. This is a great Woody Allen film it's kind of about his childhood and growing up with his family and listening to the radio and what part that played in their lives, which is more than you would think. And there's also some exploration into the stars of the day and what their lives were like. So it's really cool. I like Radio Days a lot, obviously. At number 7, we have Coming to America. As with Jaws, I probably was too young when I saw Coming to America for the first time, but no harm, no foul, I guess. It's great. It's touching and hilarious, and it's kind of a feel-good movie. At number 6, we have That Thing You Do, which I think it's written off as a Tom Hanks vanity project, but it's really a lot deeper than it seems. The thing I always liked about That Thing You Do is that the downfall of the band didn't really come from anyone they worked with, it came from within. I always found that interesting. Fun fact, That Thing You Do is the first and I think only film where the minute it ended, I went back out, bought a ticket, and went back in. So yeah, I saw it twice in the same day. Number 5 is Sleeping Beauty, my favorite Disney film of all time. Aurora is my favorite princess. The fairies are my favorite Disney sidekick characters. Maleficent's my favorite villain. Prince Philip's my favorite prince, hands down. He has an actual personality. He's hilarious. So yeah, it's great all around. And the scene where the two kings get drunk together is top notch. Number 4, we have The Grand Budapest Hotel, another Wes Anderson film that has Adrien Brody in it. Shocking, I know, that it would be on this list. I go back and forth between this and The Darjeeling Limited for my favorite Wes Anderson film. But this has been in the top spot for a while, so yeah. I can't really say much about it that hasn't been said already, but Adrien's great in it, of course. So, yeah. Number 3 is The Princess Bride. This was my favorite movie from the time it came out until the time my number 1 film came out. So it's very near and dear to me, and I agonized over whether to put this 3rd or 2nd. So it landed in 3rd, but on any given day, it might get bumped up to 2. At number 2, we have The Birdcage. I think I have probably seen The Birdcage more times than anything else on this list. It's just kind of a go-to movie when I just want to have fun, and and it's hilarious, it's touching, it's wonderful. We lost Gene Hackman a few days ago, and he's so great in this movie. So Robin Williams is fantastic, of course, Diane Wiest, Hank Azaria, Nathan Lane. There's so much to love about The Birdcage. And my favorite movie of all time is The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now I know what you're thinking. Your number one movie is 3 movies. True. But you see, when the Lord of the Rings novel came out, it was all one story. And the films were made all at the same time. So it's one long continuous story. So I maintain, in the words of Gimli,
that still only counts as one.
Okay, so that's my list. I hope you had fun. I did. Take care, and I will see you next time. Thanks.